people don't like the idea of using xylene in the gas tank. Okay, acetone. Do not use acetone with an alcohol-based gasoline. Okay, we used to always use acetone. I've been using acetone for 30 years in gasoline to be able to break down gasoline better and to be able to get a better burn. Okay, don't use acetone. Use xylene. What is xylene? Okay, it's a cleaning fluid basically. If you can buy it in any paint store, it's about $20 a gallon. Okay, 2 ounces per 10 gallons of gas. Did you hear that from me? No. Just understand that what xylene does is help to be able to, it's part of the hydrocarbon chain of gasoline, so you're not putting anything in there that's not already part of it. But xylene helps to be able to clean out the inside of the engine. It's most of the time, fuel cleaners are actually part xylene, okay? Yeah? No, it's X-Y-L-E-N-E. Or sometimes xylol. They put an L on the end of it. It's just one of the companies use xylol, but most of it's xylene. Okay? 2 ounces per 10 gallons of gas does a good job. It's not gonna, you know, it's not so much. You can use three ounces per 10 gallons of gas for diesel, and it just helps to be able to break some of those bonds. That's all we're trying to do. Okay? So far, does anybody have any questions about the, yeah? You can buy it, I mean, Home Depot, Lowe's, Sherwin-Williams, DeVoe Paints, almost any paint store has it in their paint section by the gallon. Yeah. It's a cleaning fluid. Actually, it's for removing labels. It's taking things. I mean, you can clean anything with it. It's a great cleaner. Also. Yeah, it goes into your engine. It does help to. It does definitely help to clean out injectors and stuff. Also, yeah.
When you vaporize fuel, it's being drawn into the intake system. Mm-hmm. Does it use less fuel, or does it? I don't understand.
If you expand fuel, okay, the metering system on an injection system does not meter volume, it meters time, okay? So if it's burning, if it's injecting 5 milliseconds, or the engine tells it to inject 3 milliseconds, okay, that amount of time doesn't know if it's expanded fuel or if it's condensed fuel.
Okay, when you're expanding that before it goes into that intake.
Yes, right.
Is it being forced into the intake?
Well, it depends on the system. If it's your fuel on a carbureted system, it's being drawn in. It's vacuum is negative pressure, so it's kind of it's being forced by atmosphere.
Sucking.
Yes, it's sucking. Okay.
So I don't understand how the volume is going to work.
Okay, it's because if you take a piece of taffy, okay, or a rubber band, okay, and you stretch it this far, okay, it has the same volume, doesn't it? It's just thinner. Well, that's exactly the thing about gasoline the same way. If you take and you heat it up and you expand it, okay, that it's longer, okay, and when it's longer and it's going into an injector that only measures time, it's cutting a little piece off of it instead of getting a long piece. But
so you're expanding that space. Yes. Before it gets there, so it's going to take minimal.
Yes, it's going to use less, and it's also going to burn more efficiently. Yeah.
There's a fellow outside that's got this heat tube, like you get the 2 heat, right? Is that what you're talking about? Heating of that gas before it goes in?
Probably. The fuel heaters are, I mean, I have one on my vehicle. I don't know. Is anyone selling a fuel heater in here?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah? And I don't see anybody in here, but I don't know of anyone that's selling them in here. But yeah, fuel heaters. I mean, we make them for all kinds of different vehicles, and there's all different types and shapes. And but basically, all you're doing is I run it right off of the hot water line. That gets me up to about 205 degrees right before it goes into the fuel rail. Okay, and they say, well, that's not 300 degrees. Well, it's a lot better than 60 degrees. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Let's get what we can get. Okay, and so that's just an easy way to look at it. You know, get it up to 200 degrees. Run it off your water line. Run it off of your. I mean, down here we don't use our heaters much. Run it off your heater line, and be able to get that heat going right into your fuel. Yeah.
Are you running it before the fuel pump or after?
Well, the fuel pump is now in the gas tank. Okay. Right, so we're running it. You run it as close to the fuel rail as possible. Why is that? You run it to the closest to the fuel rail so it doesn't cool down again. You want to be able to maximize that heat going right before your fuel rail. Okay? But remember, this is a high pressure system. We're not talking 3 to 5 pounds like we used to have. This is 70 to 100 pounds pressure in your fuel. Make sure your fittings are correct. What I like is the quick disconnect fittings on most cars now, and go right to the quick disconnect. You put a nipple into that quick disconnect, and you put your hose, high pressure hose only, injector hose only, guys. Do not use just regular hose. It has to be injector grade hose so it doesn't blow. Okay? There's 2 layers of canvas in an injector hose. There's only 1 layer of canvas in a regular gas line hose. So just ask, you go to Napa or any other place and say, I need 5/16 injector line. Okay? And so just understand that there is a difference. Can I draw it? Sure. Can't you tell I draw great? Okay. We have, can I draw it? Okay, we got gas tank here, pump inside the gas tank. It comes out, goes up to your fuel rail. Your fuel rail, you have your engine. Those are the 2 heads on your engine. Inside, there's the injectors like that, right? Okay. And then there's called a fuel rail. A fuel rail usually is a pipe that runs like this, okay? And then this goes back to the gas tank. All right, that's the fuel rail. So what we want to do is this goes and connects right to here. What we do is we disconnect the fitting. All right, we make up little nipples that go inside either 1/4 inch, 5/16 or 3/8. Go in that connector. Let's say this is the back of the engine. This is the compartment firewall, and you have your 2 lines coming out of your heater. They're great things to use. You can build a unit that most of the units that we use, a simple one is 3/4 inch pipe. Okay, a simple one looks like this. It's 3/4 inch pipe. Okay, nipples. Okay, looks like that. All right. I know I'm a terrible drawer, but you'll have to suffer. And then, so inside here, I have my magnets. Okay. And then the fuel line nipples, depending on what size you have, would go on here. And one line would go here, and one line would go there. You see that? Okay. This, if you have your radiator, let's say your radiator's sitting right in here, okay, and you have your big heater hose going to your engine, I would take that and lay that like this over the heater hose. Just a simple, that's the simplest form of a fuel line heater you can make, all right? And that's, but do you see what that's doing is, and you want that mounted as close, you mount it right here so it's close to this fuel line to be able to heat the fuel. And you can use an infrared gun to be able to show the amount of the heat. Most of the time you can see 50 degrees increase is pretty easy. Because a fuel rail, the fuel doesn't go through it very quick, so it's got time for it to be able to absorb the energy off of the hose. Okay? Any questions on that right now? Mm-hmm. Yep. You can use 3/8 copper tubing and wrap your hose with it. You can take, don't use 1/4 inch copper tubing, because when you bend 1/4 inch copper tubing, your volume gets so small, it actually restricts your fuel rail. So, go at least with 3/8 softball copper tubing. Yeah.